So you will present because this is your podcast, isn't it?
No, this is your podcast. I actually have a day off today. I'm just a guest. You're actually the presenter. It's kind of fun for me actually being
Yeah.
a guest somewhere. You know what I mean?
Yes,
Like
because you're always behind the camera, isn't it?
yeah. Generally, like when I do interviews, I'm generally behind the camera.
Yeah.
Best place for me. I mean, I
Yeah.
have the face for radio. You know what I mean? Like,
Exactly.
so
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
It's
kind
the
of
most
yeah,
comfortable.
exactly. So if I want to keep the audience, generally, I learned like to keep my face out of proceedings.
Fair enough. Where in my case, I'm facing the camera, so
Well, yeah, I mean, you're eye candy though, you know what I mean? Like, you've got it going on, You're a young, charming, handsome fella, you know what I mean? Like,
young, yeah, a little bit.
yeah. I'm a 53-year-old
You're
old
like
guy.
20 years older than me.
It's 20 years older than you,
Yeah.
man, yeah? Jeez, man.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
All right, then. We're starting with no, this is the second season of Chilean Buskers. Should I call it like that? Because for now, I'm the only one doing it.
Yeah.
I started with a friend that she's Kami, and I don't know, like she didn't want to be in it anymore. I don't know. We'll see. When the time comes. She'll be back as a guest probably in the future.
Yeah.
We'll see. But now we're starting here in this new location. We're in Tsunami Studios with our friend Adam recording this, and we wanted to upgrade a little bit the quality.
It's really nice in here,
Yeah,
I must
isn't
say.
it?
It's a really cool setup.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very
It's
nice.
soundproof. It's complete
It's
silence.
beautiful.
Yeah.
You could just come here in a day just to sit in here and get away
To
from the
chill.
city. Because when you walk outside, you're in the
Exactly.
city. It's noisy.
And you come in, it's like
It's like being in a church or something.
Yeah.
Isn't it? It's really nice.
without the reverb.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, but it is. It's lovely.
Yeah.
Well done. Great setup you have here.
Cheers, man. So, for all of you that don't know this guy in front of me, he is Sean,
I am.
and he looks a lot like my dad. I always say that.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
disturbing, actually.
Yeah, it's a great compliment. Yeah, great compliment.
He owns the channel Dublin City Today. That you're gonna talk about more about the
Yeah,
channel
absolutely. Yeah,
for-
yeah.
yeah.
Well, it's there to promote you guys, the buskers of Dublin City. That's
and when did he start it, and what was your first like motivation?
interesting, actually. Yeah, it's an interesting. Well, I actually created the channel back on the 5th of June, 2018, and the plan was to create the channel on the 6th of June. Because my birthday's on the 6th of June, and creating the channel, I was like, I want to do something for the city of Dublin, and the people of Dublin and the city of Dublin. And I was thinking I'll do it on my birthday, but I had a couple of jars and I got the time wrong. So it was like, I think I set it up, it was like 5 to 12, 5 to midnight, something like that, And it was only later on that I checked it. It was like, the 5th of June. So now I actually have the channel's birthday's on the 5th of June and mine's on the 6th of June. So I have a 2-day kind of party going on, so it worked out pretty good. But so the original idea really when I set up the channel was I just wanted to promote Dublin and the people of Dublin. And all I had at the time was like,
Hence the name.
hence the name Dublin City Today, you know. And all I had actually was like a Galaxy tablet that was sellotaped together, which was really grainy and old and wasn't any good. And I'm a complete technophobe, but I was a complete technophobe. I didn't even know how to use it. Like I knew there was an on button and a record button, and that was about it, So I go around Dublin City and just record whatever was happening on a particular day. It could be a flower show, it could be a protest, it could be just anything random.
But events?
In
just general,
anything. I would basically walk around the city and see what was going on and just give a flavour of the city on a particular day, which is why Dublin City Today, and I'd post that. And every day I would do it, I'd walk down Grafton Street as part of the process, and I started noticing the busking community, because I mean, I grew up in Dublin City and I've always listened to buskers and stuff, and I was like, always really enjoyed it. But I was looking at it this time and it was very different because they were very young and extremely talented for their age,
Yeah.
I mean, you had Ali Sherlock, you had Dylan Harcourt, you had Harry Fennell, you had Paul Jenkinson, you had all these guys, and I was just like, man, they're really, really good for their age,
Yeah.
And I had been going to the Gaiety School of Acting at the time. And so I was studying performances and how to deliver performances and stuff like that. So I was already had that in my mind, And so I kind of saw these guys and I thought, you know what, this would actually make a brilliant channel, a busking channel, because I saw that Ali, she nearly had like 1 million subscribers on YouTube at the time, you know,
Yeah.
and the buskers of Dublin didn't have anything, and she was getting all this attention, and I kind of felt for the other buskers because it was almost like there was only one busker in Dublin and it was Ali, you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so I made the decision as I got to know the buskers. I'd stop and I'd have a chat, you know yourself. I'd always chat with you guys,
Yeah.
and I'd stop and I'd chat with Harry and Dylan. We got on great, and then I told them, look, I'm going to make this channel, busking channel about you guys. I'm going to promote you guys. And it's going to be huge. We're going to get millions of views, millions of subscribers. People are going to come from all over the world to watch you guys.
Yeah,
and they were looking
I
at me.
remember those conversations.
Yeah, you remember, you know.
Yeah.
And the buskers were kind of looking at me like, man, this guy is nuts. He's crazy, but he's crazy. But they were very polite. Yeah, they were like, oh, yeah, Sean.
Yeah, sure. Do whatever you
Yeah,
want.
cheers. You do your thing there, bud, you know. And of course, like my family and my friends thought I was completely crazy, you know. And I was saying to them, you know, I'm going to create this channel now for the buskers. I'm going to buy proper camera equipment and microphones and stuff like that. And, you know, and even like just going back a bit, when I was trying to set up a YouTube channel, I actually had to ask how to do it. And like my brother was saying to me, well, you have to have an email address to set up a YouTube channel. And I was like, well, how do you set up an email address? I knew nothing about like the internet, nothing about YouTube, nothing about the busking community. I didn't know anything about cameras and microphones. I knew nothing, but I was 100% convinced.
You had the vision.
I had the vision, and I really, really believed, because I was like, these guys are amazing, like, and people will tune in to watch these guys because they're so good, you know. And so yeah, they were kind of like, yeah, Sean, you do your thing, you know. And I don't think they expected that I was going to keep at it and come back every day. And I bought the camera, and I bought the microphone and the tripod and everything, you know. And then, and of course, Ali was on the channel back then as well. She was helping out, but giving us a bit of attention and stuff like that. And so there was, and I was stuck on 64 subscribers for ages. Like, it was like I couldn't get off 64.
It's like my channel, basically.
Well, so you know how I felt, you know. And it was like 64 subscribers, and it was like this for ages. And then suddenly one day I recorded Ali Sherlock outside Brown Thomas. She did a cover of Let Her Go by Passenger, and it took off. And I knew it would. The day I posted it, I just had a feeling about this particular video, you know, that it was going to take off. And it took off like a rocket, you know. And since then, the channel just kept on growing and growing and growing and growing, you know. And then, of course, buskers started to believe. They saw that it was actually happening. What I was saying was actually beginning to happen, you know. And,
so now that you said that the date where you started the channel, I didn't know it started the year when I arrived here.
was that the year you arrived?
I arrived in October on 2018.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Ah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Because I had actually, because when I had set the channel up originally on the 5th of June, and I was doing my random stuff around the city, it wasn't until like the beginning of November that I made it into the busking channel, you know?
Yeah. I
So-
remember you filmed me.
I remember filming you,
Yeah, I did a song in Spanish. Yeah.
I remember that all right, yeah.
And it did well for what I was used to with my own channel, obviously.
Yeah. It did, yeah.
Yeah.
You always do well, you know?
Not really.
You do.
Not really, because the thing is, there have been times in my music careers, if you want to call it that, where I had to work in some other thing, in the office or whatever, because of my visa situation in the past.
Right.
And because of that, I wasn't so consistent going out to the streets, playing music.
Yeah.
I would only do it on the weekends.
Yeah.
And I think those videos from that particular time in my life where I was working from Monday to Friday, and then I was only busking on Saturdays, were not great because I didn't have the...
You weren't practicing so much, playing so much.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But I'd say now they're doing better than they used to.
Yeah, I mean, you've come on so much, you know, from when I first met you. Like, I mean, like musically, you're playing your voice, your singing voice, your
I didn't have
presentation.
rhythm when I started. I could sing a little bit, but now I think it's so much better than it was 5 or almost 6 years ago.
You've come on a long, long way.
It's just practice.
You know? Yeah,
That's what I say to people. Like everyone that sees me now and they say, "Oh, you're very talented." It's like that word is overused.
Absolutely.
Because the talent is only having the ear to listen to music and
course.
to know if this high note or a low note.
Yeah.
But the rest is just practice.
It is, and it's the same for everything, really.
Yeah,
You know, it's
for
it's
everyone.
for everybody. You know, no matter how, like some people might be naturally good at something, but they still
Yeah.
need to develop it, and you only do
For example, Ali.
Yeah.
Speaking about Ali.
that. Yeah,
Ali, she's been a great singer since she was born. She had a very powerful voice since
Yeah.
she was a little girl.
yeah.
But now she's exploited that.
Oh, absolutely.
know,
Yeah, yeah. And again, through practicing it, because you know, Ali is like a beast. I mean, she never stops.
Yeah.
You know, she's so consistent. You know, and she's practiced so much. And not only now does she have the power, but she also has the control.
No, yeah, everything.
She has everything
She knows
going
how
on.
to perform,
Yeah, you
how
know.
to talk to the audience, and you
Exactly.
can tell she's been doing it for years.
Yeah, you
She's
know.
probably for her that's all she knows.
That's
you know?
all. Yeah, pretty much. Really
Yeah.
is. You know, and like, I mean, I was speaking of consistency. You know, how consistent she's, because she's there every single weekend.
Yeah.
Since I've been there. You know, and
Traveling from Cork, and
traveling
all
from
that.
Cork.
Yeah.
You know, and like even in the middle of winter when it's, you know, this, when it gets really cold, what it's like.
Yeah.
You know, and her fingers are blue, but
Yeah.
she's still going. Even at like 10 o'clock at night, she's still playing. Like,
Yeah.
and she was only 13.
And belting.
You know,
Yeah.
just amazing, you know.
Yeah.
But you're right, though. It does. It takes so much practice and consistency, you know, to
That's what it
to
is.
develop and grow, really.
Yeah.
You know, and
I've always found fascinating in the music, you know, you can yourself, for example, if you don't play an instrument, you can start playing the guitar, you can start playing the piano.
yeah,
But I'm always curious, at what point do you stand out from the rest? You get what I'm saying? Because everybody learned the same way probably. But until what point
yeah. I think it's
something happens, something clicks that
Yeah.
you start playing differently, you start singing differently, or whatever.
Yeah,
that
I think
it
it's
makes you stand out.
I think for a lot of people, they begin to stand out when they begin to feel comfortable in themselves. You know, when they begin to just feel the flow, and they let go of some of the stuff that's going on inside their own head.
Fears, I'd say.
Yeah, fears and self doubts, and I think it's, you kind of notice with people that begin to get more confident, you know, and
Yeah.
you know, confidence and belief are very closely linked, you know, and
Yeah.
because the more you practice, obviously, the better you get,
Yeah.
and the better you get breeds confidence, you know, and I think that when the confidence comes, you begin to let go of the doubts and the self-esteem issues and stuff like
Yeah.
that, you know, and then you really begin to find your own way of delivering, you know, and you just become much more comfortable,
Yeah.
you know, and I think that's what it is really, is just becoming more comfortable in your own skin.
And
who
I
you
think
are.
you've seen it yourself through your own eyes and through the camera, because
Yeah.
you've been recording all the buskers.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
you've seen those changes throughout the years.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and
and
some
I forget that.
yeah, and some buskers more than others, you know, because some buskers when I first started on the scene were already phenomenal, you know. You look at Harry Fennell. When I
Yeah.
first met Harry, he was already brilliant,
Yeah.
you know, and so it's hard to gauge the improvement really,
Yeah,
because he's always
exactly.
been great, and
Yeah.
Dylan Harcourt as well. He's just, you know, and Jacob and
Yeah.
that kind of thing, you know. And where there was some buskers, when they first came out, I could see their nervousness, and I could see they were kind of
Myself.
holding back. And yeah, I think with yourself as well, you were just in a new country as well, you know, a different language.
Everything was
and
new.
Everything was new.
I never expected to play music on the streets after studying engineering.
That's
you know?
right. Yeah, that's what you did, engineering. Yeah. I mean, that's a completely different world, you know,
completely different.
that you're stepping into, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, with some buskers, I definitely have seen amazing growth, and it's a brilliant thing to see. It really, really is. You know, I think a really good example of that would be, and I'm not sure if you know Conor Byrne. Conor Byrne, like when he began, you could see he was kind of just had this nervousness about him. You know, Dublin guy. He's like, he looks like Buddy Holly. You know, I'm not sure if you know.
Maybe no.
Yeah,
Is,
but
is he tall?
He's kind of tall.
Yeah.
Well, everybody's tall to me. You know what I mean? Like,
Look at me. It's the
you know,
same.
he's taller than me, which
Yeah,
isn't that
yeah.
not that difficult. But he's that's just an example. I just became that's the first thing that came into my mind, the first name that came into my mind. But there's been quite a few.
Yeah.
And it was just to see his evolution. He suddenly came back after a bit of a break, and he was just a whole new person.
Yeah.
You know, and I think as well, COVID actually helped a lot of buskers to develop because they had so much time at home on their own, and they put in a lot of practice. And then when the lockdowns finished, they came out, and I was like, oh my God,
Yeah.
the difference is unbelievable. And again, that just shows you like the practice that they were doing, you know.
Yeah.
And that's all it really is about. It's like anything that you get into, you know, the more you practice it, the better you're going to get.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
So yeah, that's belief is a big thing,
Yeah.
you know.
So you believe in your channel as well, and it's grown.
Yeah, I mean that's the one
Immensely
thing.
now,
That's the one thing I did have going for me, you know, is I had the vision and I believed 100% in the vision, and if it like belief breeds confidence. You
Yeah.
know, like if you believe in something and you believe it to be true, well, then you're confident about it. You know, you've absolutely no doubts. You know,
Yeah.
and so for me to be selling the vision to the buskers, they could see how much I believed in it myself. Which
Yeah. So
then-
we could believe in it. as well,
exactly,
yeah.
you know, and they could see obviously this guy really believes and he's coming back every single day and he's doing it, you know, and it's actually starting to work, you know. So it's like I say, I mean that's I could never say that enough to somebody, you know, that that belief breeds confidence, you know, and if you don't really believe in your own vision, it's going to be very difficult to be confident about what you're doing or where you're going, you know. And I'd also say as well about, you know, I see a lot of buskers, and a lot of time they can start to lose direction. You know,
It's easy. It's
very
easy. You know why is that? It happens to me a lot because for us that we're not popular or well known as musicians.
Yeah.
We only rely on playing covers.
yeah,
And when we do our original music, it doesn't get the attention. So it's like, what should I do now?
yeah,
Should
yeah.
I keep on playing covers and just
Yeah.
be a cover musician?
I can understand that absolutely. But for me, you see, anytime I see anybody who lacks direction, there's only one reason a person lacks direction, and that is because they lack a destination. You know, because it's destination that determines direction. Like, you know, if you're saying, right, I want to go to Clondalkin, for example, this part of the city, well then it's easy to get directions.
Yeah.
But if you don't have a destination, then how can you have a direction? You know what I mean? Like, so I think the destination has to be your vision, has to be your dream.
It's like dreams without goals are just dreams.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, and like, you know, anybody who ever had a dream come true first had to have the dream. You know, and if you don't have it, and I think it can be very easy to lose the vision and to lose the dream because again, like you say, with confidence, you could be singing an original song and people ain't stopping and all that kind of stuff. And I think then the destination becomes blurred because people don't really believe that, like, I'm never going to get there, and then it becomes blurry and less clear, you know. Whereas when you truly believe, the vision is crystal clear, you know, so then direction is a lot easier, you know.
And you can express that through the performance as well.
Yeah.
Funny enough.
Yeah, exactly, you know.
Funny fact.
Yeah, and I think as well with original material, you know, I mean, you know, I think like anything, it takes a long time. Well, for some, everybody has different kind of time scales,
Yeah.
but you know, you could write say 100 songs, and then suddenly the 101st song you write is just like wow, and people will stop and they will listen and they'll be going, oh my God, that's really good, you know. So it's just a matter of, does the person have that determination to do that 100 that nobody stops for,
Yeah.
you know, and to keep doing it anyway, you know. And like I say, it's a lot easier to do that when you truly believe in your vision, you know.
Yeah.
And because you know, for some people, it can just take one song to change everything, you know. And just even on YouTube, it can take one video to change everything. Your channel can suddenly take off with just one video, and then all of a sudden, like, you're like, wow, that's amazing, you know. So I'd say it's a matter of just sticking to it and being disciplined. And I would put discipline much higher than motivation, you know, because motivation can, you know, it can dwindle and
Yeah,
be
it can
gone, but
fluctuate.
discipline will keep you going, you know.
Yeah.
And just staying disciplined, really, you know, I'd say.
Yeah, that's the most important thing.
Yeah, 100%.
Especially when you're your own boss.
Yeah, it's so hard. It really is, you know.
Yeah, people think that because you're independent, your life is easier because you don't have to
You don't
abide
have a
for
boss
their
to answer
rules
to.
or listen to anyone telling you what to do. But
Yeah.
it's even harder when you're the one that needs to be disciplined, needs to have, like, right now, for example, I started using Google Calendar
Yeah.
to put in all the activities that I'm doing throughout the day. So I'm not just sitting at home not doing anything.
Yeah.
And also there's a lot of times where you do work that is unpaid
Yeah.
work,
Yeah.
and that's tough, you know.
Absolutely. Yeah.
A lot of hours you put into practice. Even this,
Yeah.
I'm not even paying him to be here, by the way.
Yeah, of course. I wouldn't accept money from you, you know.
A few coins.
Yeah, a few coins,
Yeah,
maybe.
from my guitar case,
Yeah.
maybe.
Well, you got me a nice coffee, man, which is actually really, really nice. So thanks for that. But yeah, you're right. You know,
That's the tough part.
when you're
I'd say.
when you're working for yourself, I find that it's actually much more difficult than if you're working for somebody else.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, there's pros and cons to both. You know.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, but discipline is a huge part. If you're going to be working for yourself, and if you're like you need to be seriously disciplined.
Yeah.
And I would say as well, the one lesson that I've learned actually from working for myself is not to use my head as a notebook, you know, and to write everything down and to plan, you know, and to say, right, I have a diary and I'm going to be doing this on that day at this time, you know, and to write it down on paper, because I used to just, I'd be like, yeah, and it's all inside my head and I'm forgetting half of what I'm supposed to be doing, you know, and I just think it's much easier when things are written down. It's much easier to follow, you know. But definitely working for yourself has its own challenges. You gotta. There's nobody there to crack the whip. You got to be the one cracking the whip on yourself. You know, and it's very easy some days. You know, when the weather is bad and it's nice and cozy inside.
Exactly.
Yeah, to kind of put the feet up and to chill. You know.
Yeah.
But you know, hunger is a good sauce, though. You know.
Literally, yeah.
You know, you keep you going. If you're starving, you got to get out there and. You got to hunt for the food, you know.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah, that's what busking was for me at the start. It was my only source of income.
Yeah.
In the beginning.
Yeah.
And I didn't do very well either, so it was even harder.
Yeah.
But then I learned what I had to do, and it's not consistent now. We were talking about that before. That right now is a bit hard because there's too many buskers.
There's a lot.
There's not so much cash on the streets.
It's true.
Either. And you can have your Revolut QR code, but not everyone will be like, all right, I'll support him.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I mean, people don't carry cash like they used to either. You know, it's so that has brought its big challenges, and I think that Grafton Street is very, very busy for buskers, you know.
Yeah, even if people, like, it's too busy. Like, sometimes it's hard to get a crowd.
Yeah,
you know.
Of course, you know, and I think there's possibly things that could be done, you know, with that from the point of view of the council or whatever, you know, because when you walk down, say, O'Connell Street and even Henry Street, and there's no busking going on there, really. It's all centred in one area, you know, and like I was speaking to some buskers, and some buskers had said it'd be good to have like the very best buskers, let's say, for Grafton Street. Like you had to do auditions or something to be on Grafton Street, you know, and to kind of spread it around the city a little bit more. I kind of thought that's an interesting idea, you know. Obviously, I'm not a busker, so I can't be pushing these ideas out. But just when I heard it, I kind of thought it is an interesting idea. Because you know what the queues are like yourself on Grafton Street. Yeah. It's kind of crazy, you know. And so it is.
You need to get there. For people that don't know this, you have to start at 11 a.m.
Yeah.
But in order for you to start at 11 a.m., you need to get there at 9:30, probably to start queuing.
Just to start queuing.
Just to play at 11.
Yeah, you know, and then you're finished in that particular spot, and then you have to queue for somewhere else, and you could be queuing for another 3 or 4 hours in that spot.
Yeah, it's usually like that. You play 1 hour, then you queue for 3 at the very minimum.
Yeah, you know, and in the winter months, that's not a whole lot of fun for the buskers. You know, it's not fun.
Just go to the pub to wait for your next turn.
Yeah, you know, and that's I see. A lot of that, and I really feel for the buskers in that situation. I mean, I feel really that it would be good if Dublin City Council had, like, say, a busker hub in city centre, like a building, you know, that buskers could go to that's close to Grafton Street, where, you know, you have free coffee, a really cheap lunch, for example. You know, it's warm. They could leave their gear there. They could practice together, doing whatever, you know, and have a nap. Let's say if you're on a queue at a particular time, well, you know, everybody can check the app and see who's on here or in this particular spot at this particular time. And so I think that, and moving forwards, because I suppose the whole licensing thing is relatively new. It's there for the last 6 or 7 years, So I think as that evolves, it would be. I mean, I had the idea before of setting up a busker hub in the city centre, a place for the buskers to go and chill out, and it would also kind of build that community as well. They can sit down in nice, comfortable seating, and they don't have to be in a pub. You know what I mean? Like, and wasting their money that they're trying to make, that kind of thing. And I think that would be great as well, for the busking community, and even maybe have a little recording studio inside the hub, something like that. I think would be. I think it's badly needed for the buskers.
Yeah, it sounds like a good idea to me.
Yeah, well, I mean, the buskers of Dublin, they bring they are a tourist destination in themselves. Like the amount of people who have come to Dublin just to watch the buskers, just to hear their favorite buskers,
it's incredible.
It's amazing. I mean, I get emails every single day from people all around the world. Saying, I just booked my ticket, I'm coming. We've had people come from Japan, from Australia, from America, from all over the world, just to see the buskers, and then while they're here, they kind of go around the rest of Ireland and stuff like that, But their main purpose for coming here is for the busking,
It's a touristic attraction.
Yeah, and so I think that, like, the city and the council really could do more to help the buskers, like I say, with a busker hub, and maybe even, and this is kind of out there, I was thinking as well, like on those particular spots, especially in winter time where it's freezing cold and it's raining, whether to have little mobile shelters that they could kind of play in, you know what I mean? Like, so they're not having to unplug everything as soon as it starts to rain,
Yeah, that's the most difficult part of busking here in Ireland is the rain.
Yeah.
More than the cold.
Yeah.
Because the cold, you just get more layers and that's it.
Exactly. Some fingers,
can
gloves,
cope,
and you can deal with it. Yeah, with the rain,
But the rain is like, it screws your
it messes
gear,
everything. Yeah,
messes everything up. And
messes everything up.
sometimes you're like really feeling it,
Yeah.
and full on, and the rain
Suddenly,
starts.
it's just like, oh my god.
Then you have to stop, and especially when you have a lot of gear, a lot of cables to connect, and
Yeah,
all that.
and you've been queuing for 2 hours to get to
exactly.
that spot,
Exactly.
and you're there 5 minutes, and then suddenly the rain is down, and it's just like, So again, even for things like that, I think it is possible. There's
But
solutions
would
there.
you think that those type of improvements will ever happen?
I think, yeah, I think they could happen. Whether I think that they will happen anytime soon, I'm not too sure. But I definitely think that the buskers, because obviously the buskers platform, Dublin City Today, and and Ali's platform and everything, are putting a lot more attention on the buskers. So I think that with enough reminding Dublin City Council and enough requests here, listen, can we do more? Can we do more? And more involvement with them, that we could do something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because like, to be honest, what I feel now is just that we are being I want to use the word policing like as a police.
Policing,
Policing,
yeah.
Because the only thing the council does with us is just to check our license, check the decibels, how
the volume,
loud we're playing or not, and that's it.
Yeah.
So there's no much involvement. Like we don't have like a relationship.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was speaking to one of the buskers there, but just about that very thing, really, recently, actually, and we were saying that it'd be good to have a link between Dublin City Council and the buskers, somebody who kind of communicates between the two with any concerns that maybe the buskers have that need addressing and stuff like that. I think that's a good idea. It's just finding a person that everybody's kind of happy with, There's a couple of people I think would be really good at that, I think Key West, Jacob Coupon, people like that. It would be a good kind of go-between, But I do think it's needed, definitely,
To have a voice.
to have a voice there, for the buskers.
We do have a website that Cav created from Key West. It's can't remember the name. I think it's Streets Performance.
I think he mentioned that to me
Performance
actually.
something.
Yeah.
Where we all sign up, so we have a bit of a community there.
Yeah. yeah, yeah. And something like that's a good
Yeah.
idea, and to develop that further, and because in my experience with Dublin City Council, they're actually quite approachable, I had been in there, I had a meeting with them, it was a couple of years ago,
Yeah.
because I have a vision, which I will do, by the way, I want to put on a concert with the buskers,
Yeah.
like a type of Live Aid type style concert, but have, like, say, if you're doing an Ed Sheeran song, have Ed Sheeran coming on. If you're going to do a U2 song, have U2. So I'll have the buskers and the
The
original
actual artist.
actual original artists
That'd
coming
be
on,
class.
performing
Yeah.
together and doing it for a charity. Doing something like that eventually is what I'd like to do. So I had been in actually with Dublin City Council and had a meeting about that, and they were suggesting maybe do something. They have this the busking thing down in Smithfield. What's it called? Can't even remember what it's called. But every year they have a busking event on down there at Smithfield. But I was just, I was just like, well, that doesn't really work because, like,
It's not a stage. It's not.
yeah, and it was like in October down at Smithfield, cobblestones. I'm like, well, why does anybody of the public really want to go all the way down to Smithfield to watch buskers when they can just see them on Grafton
Yeah.
Street? It's a lot easier.
Yeah.
I
know.
So but they have their company who does it every year, and like I didn't really want to get involved in it.
Yeah,
They had suggested it, but I was like, it's not really my thing. I'd like to do
That
it.
doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make sense. So I'm taking Krog Park, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
on a bigger scale, and
Yeah,
like they had like during that event, they had like a lot of food stalls around,
Yeah.
and I think
like
it was
a proper event.
yeah, and I think that busking event was more to promote the food stalls than it was
Yeah,
for the
yeah.
buskers,
Yeah.
But and I'm fair play to Dublin City Council for doing it, but it just shows that they are doing something with the buskers. I just think myself, the vision that I have would work a lot better.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then I would say that,
Yeah. Obviously.
of course, yeah.
Because they are the entity, and you're just one person.
Yeah, exactly.
So
They
they have the power, basically.
yeah, but if I set up a event management company, it could probably work. Then I could put in for it. Then so but there's a lot that, like, say, Dublin City Today wants to achieve, and those things are further down the line. So yeah, they're
There's definitely loads of
possibilities.
things that can be done here
Yeah,
with music.
yeah.
Ireland has so many amazing musicians everywhere.
It's amazing. It's amazing, and like I say, when I first created the channel, I was saying, that I wanted to create a channel to promote Dublin and its people. And the one thing about Dublin is it's a very musical very musical city.
Yeah.
And then when you combine the musicality with the people, you kind of have a busking channel. You know what I mean? Like, so that's how it kind of blended. But yeah, I mean, like the amount of talented musicians in this country is just through the roof. It really, really is. It's amazing, and it's not just in Dublin. You go all over Ireland, and all the households, half the family
Everyone
plays. So
plays
everybody plays
something.
something.
Yeah.
If you go to a pub anywhere around Ireland, you'll see somebody's sitting there with a guitar. 5 minutes later, somebody comes in and they have a barrel on. Then somebody else comes in and they have a flute or whatever. And next thing you know, you're having a mad session, dancing on the table and going nuts.
Yeah.
And that's just how it is. So yeah, there's a lot of amazing talent here, and I think it's probably slowly turning into maybe the musical capital of the world. And
Hopefully.
hopefully, I mean, that's the kind of vision that I have for it, and like I was saying to you earlier, that further on down the line, I was thinking of creating a record label, DCT Records, and that's something else again in the pipeline that could definitely work in the city, because all the ingredients are there. We have the songwriters, we have the musicians, we have the producers, we've got everybody,
We have the studio now.
Yeah, we have the studio now as well, actually, and it's absolutely fantastic. I mean, it's brilliant, So all the ingredients really are there to have an amazing record label, So these are the things that are on the cards, and like I say to people all the time, DCT is still just a little baby, and I don't really consider us a big channel until we get to 1 million, and we're only at 765,000 now. Well, I say only 765,000 subscribers, and we have like 245 million views, so it's doing quite well, But I think once we get to the 1 million, we're going to ramp it up quite a bit, and we're going to start to do a lot more.
We can do the concert at the
do
1
that
million
concert,
to
yeah.
celebrate.
And I will do that concert. Like I
Yeah.
said, when I first started the channel off, you know, and I was saying this is going to happen, that's going to happen, it all happened, you know,
Yeah.
and this will happen too. And everything that I did say would happen will happen. I guarantee it, you know, because I can tell you the person who won't be stopped is the person who can't be stopped, you know, and. I'm not for stopping. I've nothing else to do. You know? So, yeah, you know, all I have is this and
Yeah.
plenty of time on my hands, hopefully. So, you
Yeah.
know, I'll keep moving forwards. And
You make a good use of your free time.
yeah, you know, and it's just all goes on to DCT, really, you know.
That's
And
amazing.
yeah. It's amazing for me, you know. It's like when you have a vision and a dream, and it begins to happen, and it begins to come true, and it begins to work, you know. Kind of, it snowballs, you know. And it's great. I've seen a lot of amazing things that have happened for buskers,
Yeah.
from the channel too, you know. And like I say, it's still in its infancy. I'm still learning a lot as well, you know, and still meeting people. And once I meet the right people in the right places, you know, we can really start to make things happen. But when I think about where we're going to be in another 5 years, from another 10 years, I you know, everything I said would happen will happen, you know. A book will happen, a film will happen, the record label will happen, the concerts will happen. It'll all happen, you know. So make
just a
sure you
matter of
stay
time.
tuned, folks. Yeah.
All right. I don't know if there's anything else that you would like to talk about.
Actually, I must mention about
Yeah.
if they're wondering. I did a video a couple of days ago, and I mentioned about my tooth. I had a crash on my bike, and I lost my front tooth.
And how did it happen? Where?
Oh man, like 'cause I got a bike there.
Yeah.
I have it a good few years. I used to cycle around.
Oh
like,
yeah,
and do
the bike you used to go to Grafton. Yeah.
all the
Yeah,
time,
yeah,
you know.
yeah.
And then I got fed up with the wind and everything. I was just like, man, this is just driving me crazy. So I turned it into an e-bike, you know.
Yeah, I remember.
Quite a fast e-bike.
Yeah.
And there over the winter, there a couple of months ago, I was flying, man, you know, and I hit a bit of ice and I landed straight down and smashed my face and broke my tooth. And like I said to you, my modelling contract is done. Yeah. Vogue are like, we're having no more to do with you, buddy. Sorry about that, you know. But yeah, so I say now it's part of my weight loss plan. I'm just losing teeth, you know what I mean? Like, so yeah, so people, I just want to reassure everybody, I'm going to have a fix back in. I'm going to have it put back in, and I'm going to get my modelling contract back on track again, you know. But
You can give me the bike if you want.
I'll give
'Cause
you
I
the
need
bike,
one,
yeah. I mean, the funny thing was, the bike actually ended up, it was fine, it was grand,
Really?
you know, yeah. It was just me.
No scratch.
It was not a scratch, you know. And I've had quite a few crashes on it, you know, because, like, you know, I do some dumb stuff like I shouldn't be doing, you know what I mean? Like, at my age, you know, and, you know, like, you know, because I used to be into BMXing and mountain biking and stuff like
Yeah.
that, you know, so I kind of do some daft stuff, you know. And, but the funny thing was, on this particular time, I was actually just going straight and was doing nothing crazy.
Yeah,
Just hit a bit of
yeah.
ice and bang, you know. But so yeah, so it's handy for me though that I am on the other side of the camera, so I don't
Yeah.
really need to worry about it so much. You know what I mean? It's brilliant.
Yeah.
But yeah, I suppose the last thing I could say really again, and I can't emphasize it enough about for buskers or for anybody who's listening, really, and you know, if they have a dream or if they have a vision or anything else, you know, and that is that it's belief that breeds confidence, you know, and you truly have to believe in yourself, and belief comes from practice, you know, and getting better at something, you know.
Yeah.
And the more you improve at something, and you can feel yourself getting better,
Yeah.
you know, you can feel your voice developing, and you can feel your guitar or whatever it is getting better, and even if it's acting or even if you're becoming a carpenter, it doesn't matter what it is, you know. It's the harder you work at it, that gives you the belief in yourself, which breeds the confidence, you know. And when you have that kind of confidence, amazing magic happens, you know. And life has a very, very special meaning for anybody who has a vision and they're chasing it, you know. And it feels good, you know, to say, like, I'm going to do something really, really big. And
Yeah.
then go after it, actually do it. You know what I mean? To actually try, at least give it a crack.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
if you fail, there's no, you haven't failed. Like, the only way you fail is if you don't try. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. If you fail, you can try again.
look, it's failure is the condiment that gives success its flavor. You know, it really, really is. You know, and it's like anybody who's ever succeeded at anything has failed 100 times before. You know, and what is it? Thomas Edison said about the light bulb. You know, he found 1,000 ways not to do it. You know what I mean? Like before he actually did it. You know.
Yeah.
And so it's the same. Just don't give up on whatever it is. You know. And there's going to be dark days and there's going to be big challenges.
Especially here.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Plenty of dark days, plenty of rain, plenty of all that.
Yeah.
You know. But yeah, just keep going. You know.
I love that mentality, man.
Yeah, it's, you know.
I'll keep that in mind for myself and I
Yeah,
hope everyone
do, and just remember, like that.
listening.
Just you know, motivation can dwindle, but discipline, just picking discipline. And the number one thing again is don't use your head as a notebook. Write stuff down. If you have a vision or you have a plan or whatever it is, just to be writing it down. You know, because that. And I only say that, and I always repeat it to people because it was the big mistake that I had made for many years was just use my head as a notebook, and it wasn't until I started actually writing things that actually things began to work a lot better. You know.
Yeah, that
You
makes
know,
sense.
yeah, things begin to
Total
happen, you
sense.
know. So you stick with the podcast, and I'm really happy for you. I actually loved this because when I saw your first your first podcast, I gave you a call.
Yeah,
I was like, listen, man, I absolutely loved that, you know.
Yeah.
And
Thank you for that, man.
ah,
It
look,
means a lot.
look, I'm delighted that you're sticking with it, you know, because I know that Camilla,
Camilla.
you know, she was with you at the beginning, and then
Yeah.
you had the challenge of keeping it going yourself. And I'm just delighted that you did and that you are keeping it going because I really believe in this podcast. I think you can do brilliant things with it, you know. I think you can help a lot of people, and it's a lovely little mission for yourself. You
Yeah.
know?
So for me, the main goal or the motivation to do a podcast, it was to talk with the musicians
Yeah.
of things that probably nobody knows
Yeah.
about their lives, how
Yeah.
they started with music,
Yeah. Yeah.
what's their call in
Yeah,
life, you
yeah,
know, and
yeah.
all that things that at least matter to me, and I say that matter to people as well. 'Cause
Absolutely. Yeah.
the only thing we see nowadays is look at my next single. This is like my upcoming single next month, and
Yeah.
that's all they know about the artist.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. You know.
But they don't know anything else.
Yeah,
So
and that's why I really, really enjoyed it when I saw your first one. The first one I think I watched the full was with Dylan, you know, and Dylan Harcourt, and you
yeah,
know,
the
found
first
out-
one's in English. Yeah,
Yeah, and he gave such brilliant advice for buskers or people who are getting into it, you know. And then with him and Toig Nolan, and then with
Yeah.
Jacob and everything,
Yeah.
and you just get to see, you get to like they give really good advice for anybody who's interested in music or anybody who's interested in getting into busking or anything, you know. I
Yeah,
thought, yeah, brilliant, you know. So really well done with it, man, and stick with it. I love it. Yeah, fair
you
play to
so
you,
much,
man. My pleasure. Cheers, buddy.
I appreciate it. All right,
Good stuff, man.
good stuff.
Okay, yeah.